Hello and welcome to BBTruecrime. We are on episode 28 of our little series.
Yeah.
I am Beth.
I am Becky. We are back, baby.
With another episode.
Yes, we are.
So this one's going to be a little bit different from our
A bit of a
usual.
mix-up for you.
Yeah, just, keep it fresh.
Give it some variety. Variety is the spice of life.
So this is kind of one that I've had on my mind, and it's always kind of one that stays on the back of my mind whenever I hear about some cases that are kind of similar to what this is, and I'm thinking, is it related? Is it not? But
I have an inkling now.
It's intriguing. It could be connected, but it also could be just a very big coincidence.
Okay.
So this is technically a theory,
All right,
made up by ex-retired police.
Okay.
And FBI's.
Okay. Is it an American case or UK case?
Technically American.
Technically American.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's not proven. Other people in police and FBI dispute it and just say it's a load of crap.
It's a hoax.
But the thing is, if you've got, if you had just normal people coming up with this stuff, maybe that would make it seem like more of a hoax.
The professionals are professionals for a reason.
Exactly. But these are experienced, retired members of, law enforcement agencies that are seeing these connections. Yeah. And are, doing what, they've experienced to do. So this...
Deducing.
Yeah. So this is the theory about... So it's got two names. It's either the Smiley Face Murders.
I knew it!
Yeah.
I knew it!
Or the Smiley Face Killers. Don't get confused with the Happy Face Killer. That is a different serial killer.
Okay.
Not the same. This is a theory about a group of suspicious deaths that, like I said, police and retired members think are connected, but it's not proven if they are.
You know what she just said? Suspicious deaths.
Bit sauce. So, the theory was actually created by retired New York City detectives, Kevin Gannon and Antony Duarte. So sorry.
Duarte is correct.
So Kevin and Anthony, as well as Dr. Lee Gilbertson, who is a criminal justice professor and a gang expert at St. Cloud State University. So they are knowledgeable people.
That is a whole wallop of criminal professionals right there.
So it's not
from
just
three very different areas as well.
It's not just random people on the internet being like, oh, this could be connected. These are professionals.
Yeah.
That have done it for a long time.
Yeah.
So the theory is that there is a large amount of young men that have been found dead in bodies of water across several Midwestern American states from the late 1990s to the 2010s.
Okay.
A lot of them, when they've been re-examined by these people, have been found to not actually or be highly unlikely to have drowning as the cause of death.
Because they're great swimmers, or they didn't go in the water, or stuff like that.
Just there's little bits that are like, that doesn't make sense.
Not everything lines up.
Yeah.
It's a little bit up.
But all of these killings that they look into are all marked as accidental drownings.
Okay.
So the theory is it one killer? Is it a collection of killers that are working together?
Is it one murder and a group of copycats?
Yeah. Is it copycats? Is it pure coincidence?
Okay.
We don't know.
All right.
So
she's giving me an unsolved one just to tease me.
Well, it's debatable. So the term the smiley face being connected to it is because when it was made public, so in every case that they've found like this, where it's been an accidental drowning, accidental and
drowning,
a bit sus, a smiley face graffiti mark has always been found near where the body has been discovered.
Okay.
or where the person has dumped the body.
There's
always a smiley face, usually always in yellow ink as well. And, there are dozens of pictures, and they have dozens of things of evidence proving that as well.
Okay.
And that's in more of a dozen of the cases.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to be more than a coincidence.
So in 2017, Gannon and Duarte
is correct, yeah?
were examining the evidence from around the late 1990s. And they have connected 45 deaths together.
What?
And they all fall into the same category. They are all college-age males whose dead bodies are found in water in 11 states. They are always found, or their deaths always occur after they have left parties or bars where they had been seen drinking.
Okay.
But granted, some of them had only been seen, maybe having one beer.
One drink, yeah.
Others, were
chugging
drunk.
kegs.
Yeah, literally. The men, according to the detectives, they were always popular, athletic, successful students.
Okay. So these aren't just random hits.
No, and the majority of them, good 90%, are white as well. So that's a lot in common.
That's more than you have for fucking serial killers.
Yeah.
Some serial killers only pick women. That's a lot of
exactly
characteristics to have in common with, how many was it? 47 other?
About 45.
45 other?
Yeah. Yeah. So they also theorize that the young men were actually murdered.
Okay.
Either by an individual or a sort of group of killers or copycats, like we said earlier, that kind of thing. So police departments that have been involved don't agree with them. They don't view the deaths associated with the smiley faces at the crime scenes as something a serial killer would do. But if you think about it, serial killers have done that kind of thing in the past.
Yeah.
Richard Ramirez, he would leave
satanic symbols everywhere.
Yeah, I
remembered.
That kind of thing. I'm sure there's more examples, which
that's the one that pops to my mind.
But that is with me too.
And even TV shows and movies and stuff, it's very common to see them leave a calling card.
I know it's a
jigsaw.
Yeah, and I know it's a TV or film serial killer, but
it's based on
pieces.
It's based on
they have calling cards.
Yeah.
So
the term calling card exists for a reason because serials like recognition.
Yeah,
that's why they're doing it.
So I don't really agree with them on that.
I don't agree with that statement at all. Not even remotely.
The La Crosse, Wisconsin Police Department was in charge of 8 of these 45 investigations, concluded that all the deaths were accidental drownings of drunk men.
Wow.
And stated that they found no smiley face graffiti.
Was that because they didn't look, or because they willfully ignored it?
Could be both. Could be either. They found smiley face graffiti after a wide area search, but they said that they didn't find any close.
But it's probably possible if they were dumped in a body of water, that the currents took it further downstream.
Yeah, but I do agree with this bit.
Okay.
So they said, when they were asked about sort of the smiley face and that kind of thing, it's not an unusual symbol. This was told to a Minneapolis-based newspaper. If you look in any area 5 miles square, I bet you would find a smiley face piece of graffiti. To be fair, it is one of the most easiest things you can graffiti.
Have you looked at, just a question, have you looked at the street art around where we live?
Yeah, Hull has a lot of graffiti and street art. Yeah.
How often do you see a smiley face? Because I'm just thinking back to all the street art I've seen.
Not very often.
In my area and in the city centre and in the places I visit, and from what I've can recall, I've never been aware of looking at a smiley face graffiti. Just me personally, I can't remember the last time I saw a smiley face for graffiti.
Yeah.
Most people tag words or small drawings,
Yeah.
or they like to write their name, or they like to do protest art.
I haven't seen really any that I can recall. If I was to go in graffiti, it probably would be something along the lines of a smiley face, because that's about the most that I could probably do successfully.
Yeah.
But
then again,
no.
maybe the demographic for graffitiing in America is very different, because obviously
True.
we are in the UK.
Yeah.
We have cultural differences and the like, but
Yeah.
you see a lot of graffiti around here. On walls, on the sides of buildings and houses and fences. And I'm just saying, I haven't seen.
Maybe we just need to go to America and look for smiley faces.
I don't want to be anywhere near that, because as they them, I'm at risk. You never know.
You're not in college.
I'm not in college anymore.
You're safe.
I'm safe.
You're not in.
Thank God.
You're not in the. And just don't go to a party and get drunk.
Exactly.
Just don't do it.
And just don't ever get a penis, and I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
That's the main thing.
The retired detectives, they have spoken about this and this theory and stuff at length a lot.
Got it.
And how they believe, they've spoken about how they think different ones have met their ends. And there was this, I can't remember if it was like a film documentary or a TV program documentary. And that's how I found out about this. It was very convincing, because at first I was like, oh, it's coincidence.
Yeah.
And then after watching this documentary with the people in it that made this theory,
slowly but surely they built up.
They went to specific cases.
Yeah.
And at first you were like, oh yeah, it's probably an accidental drowning. But then they had tests redone, and several of them had to be changed to unknown cause of death, because some of them were found with blunt force trauma. Some of them were found with like strangulation. Some of them were found with GBH in the system.
Mm-hmm.
And none of this had ever been noted before.
And that's a lot of big information to not be noted on a primary investigation.
So it could not conclusively be said that it was the drowning that killed them. It was just, I definitely recommend it.
Suspicious.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but blunt force trauma doesn't tend to be something you miss.
True.
It's a violent act, blunt force.
Yeah, you can get blunt force trauma from, drowning, if you're hitting rocks.
Yeah.
And stuff, but that kind of thing, it wasn't that kind of blunt force trauma.
Yeah.
So...
It wasn't I hit my head on a rock while I was going down the river. It was somebody lodged a sledgehammer into the back of my neck.
Yeah.
Kind of blunt force trauma.
So they often say as well that they believe that some of the men that are killed are drugged. They could be led somewhere, overpowered, abused, tortured, killed, that kind of thing. And then their bodies are later left in nearby bodies of water to cover up the marks and bruises and to wash off the DNA.
It's a very, very good method. Water does fuck up a lot of things in an investigation.
Yeah, this is actually backed up by some of the coroner's reports and some victims, stating that drowning wasn't actually the cause of death of some of them. And like I said, in a large number of the cases, GBH is found in the bodies after the drug test has actually been redone, looking for that. Because it turns out standard drug testing
doesn't include GBH.
They're not looking for GBH.
No.
But they have found it when it's been retested.
It's one of those ones that there's a small group of them where you have to go back and look specifically for that drug.
Yeah. And it has been found in a lot of the Smiley Face killings.
That's more conclusive to me than the smiley faces.
Yeah, same. The US has approximately 4,000 fatal accidental drownings a year, which isn't actually that many.
If you think about how big America is.
Exactly. I thought it would be more.
How many bodies of water far away from civilization.
How many drunk people there must be.
And think about it. If you think about the UK, population-wise and land-wise, there aren't many places in the UK where you can go and be well and truly in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, there's only, off the cuff of my brain, I think, 2 or 3 places I can think of. And most of them because they're just sheerly inaccessible.
Yeah.
But with America, God, you have
There's water everywhere.
Millions of places you can go and you can just be in the middle of nowhere. I mean, you can drive through a fucking desert for 3 days and not see a human being. Baffles me.
You could fucking drown in a puddle.
Exactly. You need. I think they said you need literally like 3 inches of water to drown.
Yeah.
It's literally just enough to cover your nose and mouth.
But yeah, that's a surprisingly few amount.
Yeah.
So this means, from that figure, this means that between 1995 and 2005, there were likely over, so in the country, 80,000 drownings in the country.
Okay.
Therefore, it's highly likely that many of those cases have similarities to each other. This is what people defending that it's coincidence is saying. Which, you know what?
Yeah.
Fair.
Because most people, you fall into a body of water, you know, you panic, but you get to the side and you're injured or you suffer from water inhalation, but you do survive.
Yeah.
So really, the only reason you're going to drown in a body of water is because you're impaired in some way, shape or form.
True, but then they're also saying that, yeah, you know, there's a lot of drownings that may happen, so therefore there's probably a lot of similarities between the people that have drowned.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of them that have drowned. So there's also a quote that says, "There is an epidemic of college-age white men who have disappeared after an evening out with friends only to be found dead in a local river." So it's quite
I think it's an assumption to say that many men in just in that area as well.
11 states.
Just
not
in
all
those
of them.
11 states. Not in the rest of the
not in the rest of it.
Not in the other 39 American states.
Yeah.
Just those 11.
Yeah. So there's a specific case as well that I do want to mention.
Okay.
So on January 25th, 2017, Dakota James, who was a 23-year-old student, went missing. So this is pretty recent.
Yeah?
After being out drinking with his friends.
Okay.
The police tracked down his last known whereabouts using surveillance cameras, which you can view online.
Yep.
I've seen them myself. And you can see him in downtown Pittsburgh. So on March the 26th, so over 2 months later. Sure. I don't know.
The Americans don't pronounce it bro. That's English.
Well, you know,
language.
yeah, it's fine.
Pittsburgh.
So 2 months later, his body was found in a river.
That's a lot of decomp.
Yeah. However, it's not. Because the county medical examiner's office, so they ruled his death an accidental drowning, right? He was missing for 40 days. And you'd be right, that is a lot of decomp. He would be bloated to hell.
He'd be falling apart after 40 days in the water.
His body showed very little decomposition.
They are aware that wildlife exists in the river, right? And humans are a great snack. It's like a walking sushi bar for fish.
There was barely any decomp.
He's barely been in the water a week.
Thank you. That's exactly what I think.
He's barely been in the water. He was held somewhere for 30 days and then dumped.
So the retired, members that made this theory believe that the victim was drugged with the date rape GHB, murdered, and then dumped in the river. Unfortunately, like I said, it's not custom for them to search for that drug, and I'm not sure if they have on his case already, but I completely agree, he has not been in the water for a lot of time.
No.
Easy, 100%.
I'm sorry, 40 days?
Yeah.
Is anybody aware how much your body breaks down over 40 days?
Have you seen pictures of bloated corpses?
Yeah.
They are the most horrific thing I've ever seen.
Oh, they're awful.
They are awful to look at. And
they barely look human, I'm not gonna lie.
They don't even look real.
No.
And trying to be like, oh yeah,
he's been in the water for 40 days, don't fucking lie to me.
And he looks almost as he did when he fell in.
That boy's 2 steps away from being a skeleton. They're 2 steps away from boiling the flesh off of his bones to figure out what the fuck happened to him.
But no.
Don't look at me and tell me that he's barely... no.
And the thing is, I'm pretty sure... So, in the documentary I watched, in a lot of the cases, I don't know if it was this guy or a different one, but the surveillance that they had of him, he was seen walking in the opposite direction of the fucking water.
Well, how do they think he...
Because the thing is, with
they
the girlfriend...
Think he did a wraparound?
So basically, and I don't know if it's the same guy, but with one of the cases, the guy was leaving the party. He'd phoned... His girlfriend phoned him, and she was coming to pick him up. She was like, "Where are you?" So he was like, "I'm at this corner."
Okay.
She goes to the corner. He's not there.
Okay.
She's ringing him. He's answered the phone and he's like, "I am here. Like, I am nearby." The phone is traced that he's going the opposite way of the water. He vanishes into thin air. Phone is cut off. Phone is never activated again.
The fuck?
He's not near the water. So that's kind of like he's being picked up.
He's been fucked up.
Yeah.
Never mind
thing.
picked up.
So, yeah. I'm not going to say for certain I think it's definitely a solid theory, but I think that they do have a lot of strong evidence.
I think there's a basis in that that you can't ignore.
I think they should definitely keep it.
Because accidental drownings, yeah, okay, fine. But you're going to tell me that in those 11 states, all of those accidental drownings that happened, all of those specific little bracket of college-age white men just happen to have a smiley face nearby.
I'm also going to say, maybe an unpopular opinion as well, but I am going to say...
You're full of those today, aren't you?
I know. I am going to say, I don't think it was probably the work of one person.
Oh, no.
And I'm not saying it's the work of a group of people either. I'm saying there's just, for me, what I would probably most believe is ignore the smiley face graffiti for a second. I'm saying a lot of them could be murder.
Yeah.
But it could be just, like, the murder of that person.
Yeah.
Like, not connected to the other murders.
If I were me, and I'd committed a murder where I dumped a body in the river, do you know what I would do immediately after? I'd immediately go and I would put on the dark web how I'd murdered that person. And then encourage other people to do same.
Yeah.
You know, if you've got someone to murder, this is a great way to do it. And suddenly, you've got the perfect alibi.
Yeah.
Because you've got 50, 60, 70, 100 other murders that all look like yours. But they're so scattered and so varied, and there's so many tiny discrepancies in between the individual cases that no one is ever going to be able to point out who it is.
Yeah.
Because they're so busy, A, looking at the bigger picture or trying to find one murderer, that they completely forget about you. So that's what I reckon's happened.
Yeah.
I reckon someone's gone, drug them, get them into your car.
But definitely that one
something.
guy.
That guy. That's
Definitely.
sus as fuck.
Yeah, 100%.
Because that's 40 days later and you're telling me he's pretty much intact? No. You start seeing decomposition after 3 days.
Exactly, and in the water as well.
In the water is incredibly
spring,
degrading.
From winter to spring.
Yeah. No.
100% not.
No.
Because they'd also searched the water
Not to mention,
and not found him.
Not to mention, how much fucking time do you think wildlife has been nomming on this boy if he's been in there 40 days?
Yeah.
You're going to look me dead in the eye and tell me that he's still put together?
Yeah, I don't think so. At all. But that's
Not
my
a fucking
thoughts
chance.
on the theory.
That was a good one. I think that was one of my favourites.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting. It's very interesting to look into, so if you want to do that, feel free to, because they have a lot more cases.
Yeah, I bet they do.
That.
45 boys.
But I would definitely recommend the documentary I watched. So if I find it again, I will let you guys know and let you know as well. Because yeah, definitely worth a watch because it's very convincing.
Yeah.
So that was episode 28
Yes, it was.
of BB True
It
Crime.
was. I am Becky. She is still Beth. That hasn't changed.
Again.
And we are going to sign off and head to our next case.
Thank you very much for listening.
See ya.